Kính chào toàn thể quý khán giả. Mời quý vị xem chương trình Thanh Thảo Show tuần này. Trong một chương trình đặc biệt, Thanh Thảo rất là hân hạnh được tiếp chuyện với ông Carl St. Clair, là Music Director của Pacific Symphony. Và thưa quý vị, Pacific Symphony hiện nay đang trình diễn tại Sigerstrom Center for the Arts tại Costa Mesa. Mời quý vị cùng theo dõi buổi nói chuyện ngày hôm nay của chúng tôi. Good afternoon, Carl. Could I call you that?
Yes, of course you may. Good afternoon, Tony. It's so great to be with you.
It's my pleasure, all of it. I would like to let my viewers know a lot about you in the time slot that we have. I've read about your biography and I've attended many of your concerts for the last year. You are such great talent. But I want you to tell my viewers about yourself instead of me reading. I know that you have been the music director for Pacific Symphony for the last 32 years. How did it come about? And when you study music, did you ever think that you will be a music director of such a great symphony?
Well, I just celebrated my 70th birthday, June 5th. And I go way back at my 6th birthday. My mother promised me the greatest gift I could ever give you. I'm going to give you the greatest gift possible. And I lived on a farm in South Texas, a little town of like 35 people. And I'm thinking, what could that be? What could that possibly be? I'm looking everywhere. I didn't see anything. I didn't see any great gift. Comes my birthday, June 5th. My mother says, you are getting piano lessons.
Whoa.
No, but for a boy that lives on the farm, that was really a disappointment, you know? I mean, it's like, what? That's the greatest gift? And it took about 2 years for me to realize, but of course, it was the greatest gift she could have ever given me. And the musicality came from from God, I think, you know, because I grew up in a place that didn't really have a lot of culture. My piano teacher was my aunt. And then I went to a very small school. I started playing the cornet, the trumpet, in the band, in the marching band, and the concert band. And then I attended the University of Texas at Austin on a scholarship. And then little by little, I became more involved with opera and symphony orchestras and things of this nature. And then as a graduate student, I started thinking about conducting. But not until then. I was a professional trumpet player, was going to be a professional trumpet player. And then all of a sudden I had this opportunity to conduct. And it just kind of seemed like I had a knack for that. And so I became a conductor as a graduate student. And I went on and I was a professor at 2 universities, Southern Illinois University at Edwardsville and also the University of Michigan, before going to become the Boston Symphony's assistant conductor, which was, for me, a big door that opened because that took me from the academic world to the professional world. And that's where I met John Williams and Leonard Bernstein and Seiji Ozawa and Kurt Mazur and Andre Previn and all of these wonderful maestros who became my mentors and my friends and my teachers. And in 1990, at the suggestion of John Williams, the John Williams, who was the conductor of the Boston Pops, he said, Carl, you know, I was just conducting this orchestra in Southern California called the Pacific Symphony. They're looking for a music director. You should know about them, and they should definitely know about you. And that's how I first came in contact with the Pacific Symphony back in 1989, was through John Williams. And I came here in January of 1990, and a few weeks later, I was engaged as their music director, and I've been here ever since. And it's been a great chapter in my life. I must say, I'm so blessed. One of the greatest opportunities afforded to a music director in America. I met my wife here. We've had our family here. It's not only been the place where I work and where I've dedicated my career, but it's been our home, and I love it.
Carl, with what you have achieved, it's hard for me to try to contain the interview in 20 minutes. But I would like to ask. I attended the last week concerto, the Emperor Concerto from Beethoven, I think. And you invited one of the most prolific pianists to play. And you also did a great job as a host. Can you talk a little bit about it?
Well, being a music director is not just conducting.
That's what I would like you to say.
It's embracing the community. It's embracing the growth and development of an orchestra. It's community relationships. It's working with the staff. It's working with a president, John Forsythe. It's working with the board of directors, John Evans, chairperson, and the board. It's really working with kids, working with our youth ensembles, our youth programs. I mean, the job of a music director is not simply standing on the box and conducting, as you say, the Emperor Concerto. It's much more involved than that. I mean, that's what a guest conductor does. A guest conductor comes, they might have a lunch or they might talk to people, but basically they're there to just make music. They don't have to deal with those things which a music director needs to deal with. So last week we did all 5 Beethoven concertos, the Symphony No. 8, 2 violin romances, and the Egmont Overture, all in 1 week. And the pianist was Alexander Romanovsky. Alexander is Russian trained. One of his parents is from Russia. The other is from Ukraine. Interesting, right?
Very interesting.
Especially in these days with war raging there in Ukraine. He's Ukrainian and lives in Switzerland now. But he's been a dear friend for several years of mine, and we've worked together in other places. And this was his second visit to us. But the Emperor Concerto is just one of those pieces that is like a monument in our life. I mean, it's not called the Emperor Concerto for nothing. I mean, it was premiered in 1911, composed in 1811. Yeah, of course, thank you. And was written a couple of years before, but Beethoven didn't play that concerto at the premiere. He was too deaf to know whether he was with the orchestra or not with the orchestra, but it remains one of the greatest concertos of all time. And in the hands of a pianist, as you say, a magnificent virtuoso like Alexander, it was really a moving experience. I'm glad you were there, but it was also a tremendously rewarding experience for everybody on stage.
Yes, and talking about Europe to Switzerland, I know that you have taken Pacific Symphony with you to Europe and other big, famous venue. Could you talk a bit about it?
We moved into the Renee and Henry Segerstrom Concert Hall, our home, in 2006. And my feeling is that the Pacific Symphony had to deserve such a great concert hall. And we had never been outside, maybe once or twice outside of Orange County. So the board of directors agreed that we were going to take a European tour, which was very costly. So we started in Munich. We played in Cologne, in Dusseldorf, in Frankfurt, in Hanover, in Lucerne, in Vienna. I mean, we played in major musical centers, those ones that you read about, the home of Beethoven, the home of Mozart, and we played in those because I wanted to take the orchestra to these places to prove that we deserved this beautiful house, this beautiful home. And we went and we played 11 concerts in 14 days.
Oh my goodness.
And it was a great, great experience for the orchestra. Of course, when you go on tour with musicians, you come together as a family in ways that you don't when you're just here at home. It's like when a family takes a trip together or experiences something together, you become closer knit as a family.
Yes.
And we did as well. In that same spring, we also played at the American Symphony Orchestra League's National Convention. And then, of course, as you know, just before the pandemic, we went to Carnegie Hall. We had a sold-out house. We had 3 standing ovations, which I'm really, really excited about, as anyone would be. A wonderful review in the New York Times. Am I bragging? I'm sorry if I'm bragging. I don't mean to be bragging.
No, you're not.
And that same springtime, we also went to China. We played 5 concerts in China. We started in Shanghai. We ended the Cultural Center in Beijing. It was also very successful. That was to bring us closer together with our community here in Orange County. And then we had our very first Great Performances PBS special, Great Performances with the Ellis Island, the Dream of America, Ellis Island. It was just a great trifecta of things. A Chinese tour, Carnegie Hall sold out, and also a Great Performances PBS. It was wonderful. And then, of course, in 2020, we know that the pandemic just basically silenced all ensembles across the world. So, but we're so happy to be back performing, as you said, like this past Sunday. We have concerts coming up this coming week. Also, live audiences, and the audiences are so appreciative. It's like a moment of jubilation that we're reconnecting, and they're sitting there enjoying live music, and what an experience it is.
Who could resist? It's such a beautiful hall,
Yeah.
wonderful music, and you very, very good as a host too. So we learned a lot of things, a lot of background stuff about the music piece and the composer before we listen to the music. So it's really just to me like a storytelling. It just prepared the audience for much better experience.
Well, when it comes to someone like Ludwig van Beethoven, you want to prepare the audience for the musical journey they're going to be on. Because I know, the musicians know, we know what a profound voyage that can be.
Yes.
If you're really already, before you hear the first note, you're already involved with the composer, what was going on in their lives, what was going on around them. In this particular time, the Napoleonic Wars were happening, deafness were happening, his depression, his bad health. I mean, all of these things fed into this incredible composer to give us this incredible music. So the more you know about it, the better you can experience the music. The more profound is that experience for all of us.
So as a music director for Pacific Symphony, I know that this season will end with something with Mozart and Mahler. Could you talk a bit about it?
You mean next week's concert?
Yes.
Next week, I always like to combine Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart and Gustav Mahler.
I see.
Because these two spirits are very similar. And also their music complements one another. So we're doing, with the Naughton sisters, the 2 piano concerto. So this is not just a piano concerto, but it is the Naughton sisters playing Mozart's 2 piano concerto. So there's 2 pianists, two pianos playing a work that Mozart composed with orchestra. It's an incredible piece. And as a matter of fact, this was to open our season. This particular piece, the Mozart 2 piano concerto, was to open our season in
2023.
2021.
Oh,
it's been postponed now twice.
I see.
So because of COVID.
Yes.
Mahler 4, this particular symphony by Gustav Mahler, was supposed to have been performed in January of this year. But remember, there was a kind of a spike of COVID, so it got postponed to next week. So everyone's just being as flexible as possible. But this particular symphony of Gustav Mahler is his shortest. It's a little less than an hour. It's in 4 movements, and it's very classical by nature. And I think it's a beautiful combination and a wonderful way to end our season.
Thank you so much for enlightening us about the upcoming concert, Mozart and Mahler. And you said that every year, because you are the music director, you would be choosing pieces to put into a season, the program that would be most appropriate for what you thought. Oh.
One of the major roles of a music director is to create if you will, a musical meal for the whole year.
I see.
Every course is
menu.
like, yeah, it's a musical menu. So like every concert is like one meal, but you have to put together a whole season. So you have to find a balance. You have to find a balance in how much German music, Russian music, French, contemporary music, music of our time, music by female composers, artists which represent all of the BIPOC composers, female composers, BIPOC conductors. So we really have to think about the balance of a season. Yes. So we'll have Tchaikovsky, we'll have Rachmaninoff, we'll have Beethoven and Brahms, but we will also have music by composers that you might not have heard of before.
Yes.
And we have guest artists, guest conductors, guest soloists. And so it's preparing a cornucopia of music for the whole season so that everyone finds something that they love in that season.
Yes, that's very good to know because I'm a seasonal
subscriber. Yes, we love you. We love season subscriber.
I've tried to get my friends to do the same because they love to listen to great music. They didn't know where to go. So it's right here in Orange County, right in Costa Mesa at the beautiful Renee is it Renee, right?
Renee and Henry Segerstrom Concert Hall.
Yes. And so, there's no better time but to subscribe now.
And let me just add, it not only looks beautiful, but the acoustics. If you want to hear,
it's like a music box.
It is. If you want to hear classical music, if you want to hear music of the symphony orchestra, I will tell you, the acoustics. They're ideal. They're just ideal.
There are two things I'd like to ask you. I hope we have enough time to drop this interview up. The first one is, as a music director, you want to embrace the community, and that was your effort as well as my effort. I'm a member of the board of directors, and I'm trying to get the Vietnamese community to embrace Pacific Symphony because it's just very, very worthy. And you've been doing this a few times now. That's the Lunar New Year concert, right? And how did you choose pieces in the concert?
Well, let me just start out by saying that there is an exciting new partner with the Pacific Symphony, and that's Viet Quang.
Viet Quang is
Viet Quang is really one of the most gifted, talented, on-the-rise composers in America today.
Yes.
And he has written a piece that we're going to actually begin next season with.
Okay.
It's called Renewal, and it's for 4 percussionists and orchestra. And it's the Sandbox Percussion Group is going to. It is an incredible piece. And I fell in love with that music. And then I met Viet Quang, only to find out he lives in Laguna Niguel. And so he is now going to become one of our artistic partners. Yeah. I've asked him to write us a piece.
Yes.
And which he is. We're going to premiere. He's going to work with our youth ensembles. Our youth ensembles are going to play his music. He is just a wonderful young man and a great composer. And I'm so happy to invite him because this is going to further connect us with the Vietnamese American community.
Yes.
And also, as you know, in Lunar New Year, it's many Asian communities celebrate Lunar New Year. And so what we try to do is to put together programs representing each and every one of the Asian communities and Vietnamese, Chinese, Korean most especially. And so this is how we do it. And I must say that I do get some guidance because some of these pieces are new to me, new to the orchestra, but we want to make sure that everyone feels welcomed.
Great. I will have a chance to interview Viet Quang in my next program. Right now, I would like to talk about Symphony on the Go. I think it's a wonderful way to engage people and to entice them into loving classical music or even pop music, because you get to go to a park near your house.
Right.
It's a free concert with wonderful, great artists. Can you talk a bit about it?
There are several cities across the country that started this mobile music, you know?
Yes.
And so we got the idea that we want to do this as well, especially during the pandemic where people wouldn't go inside.
Right.
And so they can sit outside in the park, as you say, or on their cul-de-sac street and or in a very comfortable parking lot or something,
yes,
and hear classical music that just comes to you. It's
right,
music on the go. We're bringing the Pacific Symphony to you.
Yes.
You don't have to go anywhere. You can feel safe. You can bring your lawn chair. You can bring your dog. You can bring your family. You can sit there. And it's just been great. We did already many concerts, and it's about to start, I think, tomorrow night.
Right.
Tomorrow night, meaning the 17th of June, it's going to start again. And we have concerts planned all through the summer.
Right.
And it's our mobile stage, music on the move. And we're coming to your neighborhood. So be on the lookout for us.
Pacific Symphony is a symphony on the go. And then I will be representing Pacific Symphony and as well as Bank of America.
Bank of America.
To introduce the first concert in Garden Grove. And I really hope that you would, if you cannot go to the first one, go to all the ones that will be featured during this year. Just go on pacificsymphony.org. And then you can find all the things you wanted. And if you would like to become a subscriber, subscriber like I am, please do so. And
yes,
you can get to see Carl, you can listen to his wonderful conducting, great music, and then you can hear little stories if you go to the Sundays shows.
Classical Connections, right, Sunday concert. We have a series of 4 concerts on Sunday, which are a little bit more informal, where we talk about the music, we play excerpts and things of that nature. And I will say, when we talk about connecting with the community, young people is number one. I mean, we have to get them to understand the value of classical music when they're young, to play a musical instrument.
Right.
So we have youth ensembles, we have 2 orchestras, 2 wind ensembles. We have many programs, Classic program, our Arts Express program. We have many community outreach programs or engagement programs. So, because we really believe, and also I'm a product of public school music education. I went to public school. I really believe in music education with the bottom of my heart. And we, the Pacific Symphony, really do invest quite a bit of our life in education and embracing the youth of our community.
Thank you so much. Before we part today, I would like to say happy birthday. You have gotten the best gift that people can ask for.
Yes.
Can you say something to my viewers?
Listen, it's just been great to be here with Tony, and I will say that the reason music is in the presence of the human existence is to bring life and to bring joy and to lift people's spirits. And that's what we want to do. We want to be your Pacific Symphony. I want to be your music director. We want to share music together to make all our lives in Orange County very rewarding and much more fulfilling and joyous. Thank you very much for everything you do for us. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Carl, very much for giving us this time and this interview. Thưa quý vị, chương trình Thanh Thảo Show kết thúc ngay tại đây. Thanh Thảo cảm ơn quý vị đã chọn xem chương trình. Và nếu quý vị muốn tìm hiểu thêm về Pacific Symphony, xin vào pacificsymphony.org để tìm hiểu những chi tiết mà chúng tôi đã trình bày trong chương trình này. Hẹn gặp lại quý vị trong chương trình Thanh Thảo Show kỳ tới.
Nếu quý vị thích xem những chương trình này, xin nhấn vào nút subscribe để có được các thông tin và phóng sự mới nhất từ Vietface TV.